Roll call, please. Here.
Here. Sue Chung. Yes. Here. Jason Kim.
Yes, ma'am.
Kevin Lynn.
Yes. Yep.
John Madison.
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
Thank you. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of Chapter 213, 1975, I hereby state that adequate notice of this regular meeting has been provided to the public by written notice dated January 13th, 2022. The meeting notice has been emailed to all staff members, 2, communicated to at least one of the borough's designated newspapers, and 3, filed with the borough clerk of Palisades Park. Before we begin, we have taken all the applicants, which was only one, for the vacated board seat, and I am very honored and pleased to say someone who has served this town and community and educational system, I don't want to say how long, but over almost 40 years, and he's been a teacher, a supervisor, co-curricular activities, a member of the community, I think since he's born and raised in Palisades Park, impeccable. And I'm very honored to nominate Mr. Peter Longo to the Board of Education. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Peter Longo.
I'll second.
Roll call, Diane?
Tom Matarazzo.
Yes.
Julie Lynn. Yes. Sue Chung.
Yes.
Annie Garcia.
Yes.
Jason Kim.
Yes.
Kevin Lynn.
Yes.
John Madison.
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
Congratulations, Peter.
Congratulations.
Come up here, please. Thank you. To be sworn. Stand here. Face me. Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Peter Longo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States,
and this state,
in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I state your name.
I, Peter Longo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified
and that I am not disqualified
as a voter
as a voter
pursuant to the law,
pursuant to the law,
nor disqualified
nor disqualified
to the conviction of a crime
to the conviction of a crime
or offense
or offense
as listed in NJSA
as listed in NJSA
18A:12-1.
18A:1
12-1.
12-1.
I do further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of the office of a member
perform all the duties of the office of a member
of the Board of
for
Education
the Board of Education,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I think Diane put. I think Diane put one right down there. Okay. She can guide you. Okay. Okay, Next thing I'd like to mention is that I received all of your requests as far, in writing, as far as committees. I tried to the best of my ability, honor them, and we evened it out that everyone is on, 3 or 4 different committees. So before you have that, now if any chairperson wants to call a meeting before our regular meeting, please do so. Just check with Dr. Cirillo, make sure he's available, and I probably will be available. We'll check with the committee people. But you have the right to, call a committee meeting at your request, once you get all the materials, okay? Report of the superintendent.
Before I do have a few things to publicly share with the audience and the board members, I first want to apologize. I guess the weathermen were the only ones that did not get it wrong this morning. I'm sorry that your children came to school with a delayed opening. Clearly, the intentions last night were to give the community, the families, the faculty, and the staff as much notice as possible, so everyone was not scrambling. Unfortunately, the time of dropping our children off this morning was not as clean, literally, as it would have been at 8 a.m. But again, we go based on the knowledge provided to us. I still do think that it is in our best interest to decide those situations the night before to allow the families ample time to have plans in place for the morning. So I do offer my apologies on that. Number 2, I want to thank the families, the community, the students, faculty. On our website, I am updating our COVID tracker literally daily at this point. And I'm happily doing that because our numbers, and I continue to keep my fingers crossed in saying this, our numbers are showing a trend in the right direction. We currently are hopefully experience the worst of it over the holidays, as many of people saw. But in the last couple of days, I am very, very happy to report that our numbers are definitely moving in the right direction. And the COVID tracker is on our website and is updated in a regular, daily now occurrence. So with that, I do have a presentation that by statute is upon receipt from the Department of Education, we must publicly share with our community and the board within 60 days. And this past fall, students had a Start Strong assessment in our schools. Of course, there was no testing last spring or the spring prior to that because of COVID reasons. But I guess the State Department, for purposes of compliance, wanted to assess our children and see where we were at. We definitely knew there would be areas of support needed, and clearly the indicators that I will share with you and share with the board, I did give them a hard copy, and I will be putting it on our website as well, show some strong evidence needed in some areas. So I will share some math, English language, arts, and science scores if you bear with me, please. So this is when the custodian was supposed to turn the lights off, but we lost them, so I apologize. So the 21-22 Start Strong assessments, the students were administered in the month of October in all, excuse me, not in the Early Childhood Center, in Lindbergh Elementary School and in the junior senior high school. What I will share with you is some information. I'm not going to go over all of the demographics. There are many, many slides, but I want to share some of the most relevant slides with you. And those are our district analysis scores. So one of the more important slides, as you will see, and I apologize it's so small, is our language arts in the fall. Again, grades 4 through grades 10. The column all the way to the left are the number of students that were tested. The number of students that were tested is this column. So in grade 4, there were 126 students. In grades 10, there was 100 students. These are the grades. These are the 3 levels that the students could score in. This is an area that strong support was needed. This is an area where some support was needed. This is an area where less support was needed. So based on the student test scores in English language arts is what we are looking at now. We can see that definitely strong support after 2 years of many children being taught virtually is needed. Almost 46% of all of our students, where we have 18% and 36%. Again, many districts have seen that strong support is needed. We can never replace in-person instruction faced with, obviously, the world we have lived in, and more closely, New Jersey. Our numbers indicate that strongly. The next slide is more of a graph that depicts the same information. The red, again, is the strong support. The orange is less, and the green is little. Again, grade 4, this is still English language arts. Grade 5, all the way up to grades 10. Again, the last indicator was all grades combined. The next 2 slides are mathematics. Once again, the trend in mathematics. In grades 4, and again, we don't speak primarily through grades 10. Now when we get to mathematics, we talk about Algebra 1, we talk about geometry, and we talk about Algebra 2. But the scores, again, indicate even stronger support needed in these areas by way of 65%. So clearly, English language arts showed less of a major decline, as math would indicate on this assessment. Some support was at 19%, excuse me. Less support was at 16%. Okay?
Dr. Cyril,
Yeah,
can I ask something?
sure.
Yeah, is there any comparison data between year over year?
We have never done a strong
This is kind of the
assessment.
first
This is
time?
the first time we've ever
Okay.
administered this.
So we don't know, we don't have any kind of guess,
No.
whether any.
Yeah, no, there is no previous indicator.
Okay.
There are many interventions that I'm going to speak about that we have already implemented in our district. The next slide will show us, again, by way of graph and nice colors. Red is clearly something of concern. Red is something that we need to concentrate on. Mathematics is an area that needs a lot of attention. And the last 2 slides I want to share tonight, and not overwhelm anyone, is science. In science, grade 6, grade 9, and grade 12 were assessed. In grade 6, 127 students. In grade 9, 114. And in grade 12, 114. Again, 61% showed strong support needed. 27% showed some support. 13% showed little support or less support. So clearly, the Start Strong assessment, I think, provided each and every one of us, educators, parents, and students, many students, the information that we probably knew. Coming back after almost a year and a half, with no in-person instruction for many, although hybrid was offered for the majority of last year. The social, academic, emotional components also helped the academic pieces, and I think that was lacking. Here's evidence, again, by way of that chart with the colors. The left, all the way to the far left, is the 6th grade. The middle left is 9th grade science, 12th grade science, and all science inclusive. Are there any questions regarding this? Yes, please, go ahead, Mr. Webb.
Yeah, just wondering whether any comparison data between schools in either Bowie County or any towns? Or
Any what, I'm sorry?
any comparison data?
Yeah.
Or over the other
Yeah.
schools?
So working with other colleagues, I can tell you, and I can go on record and tell you that every superintendent of school saw what we pretty much, again, I'm not gonna compare percentages. Our students are not like any other students. Our students are unique. Every child is unique. But every school district did see. Many of us educators wondered the purpose, the integrity of such an assessment. We did not expect students to be home for 18 months, come back and be smarter than they ever were.
Even the timing of the assessment in the month of October, we thought was premature. We did not expect children to be off for the summer, be educated for a month. We don't teach to the test. We have many other components that we try to stress to our children. But many districts clearly have much of the same concerns that we do.
Yeah, but I think to make the number to be meaningful, I think we need to see what the other towns overall, the rate kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Then, whether we are our students in general, like on average or below, high kind of things.
So a comparison to our neighboring districts, is that what you would like to say?
Yeah, maybe, even the Bergen County, those schools.
So I could probably venture to say, and I say this publicly, not happy to say this, but we are probably not in the higher half of Bergen County. I think our indicators are right in front of us. There is much room for improvement.
Yeah.
There's always room for improvement, but again, I would argue that the students we educate here are very different from the rest of the county. They're very different from the students in the neighboring towns in some cases. I don't want to compare us ever to a Leonia. Leonia's demographics are very different than Palisades Park. So it would not be comparing apples to apples. It's hard to compare us to neighboring schools, but I can ask other superintendents, more or less a general question in sense of what their percentages were.
It's a good point. Can I ask, can we ask the administrators to come up with a plan of action?
It's done. We've already instituted it. This has been done since we got those results.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
So then maybe we can share that. with
I'm
the
gonna
board.
talk about them briefly.
Good.
We're gonna talk about some of the interventions.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question. When you indicate that 126 students, or the total number of students that were tested,
Yes.
is that representative of the entire class of the
For the most
fifth grade?
part, yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't,
I just wanna make sure it's an accurate, it was,
students could have been absent.
Okay.
This test did not require makeup exams.
Okay.
There was, again, it wasn't like the standard New Jersey SLS. It wasn't like a New Jersey NJ Ask of years past. This
Okay.
is a different, this was never administered before. Even for the students, my own children that took it, after they took the test, I spoke to them about it, and much of the information was completely,
I just
foreign.
wanna make sure that it's representative, so if there are, let's say, 300 students in the fourth grade, and
Sure.
only 126 were tested, it's not necessarily.
No.
But it's.
I'm gonna tell you that that's the majority of
Okay.
the fourth grade.
Okay,
Yes, the
thank you.
majority of the eligible students were tested.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And that includes ELL.
All students,
Special needs.
all students in that grade level. Ms.
So,
Min?
are they included for the ELS?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Because I could see the red one bar and the strong support has more higher.
Yes, of
That's
course.
why.
Yeah, many, again, all, when we look at the demographics, all students are inclusive. We don't, segregate one population versus the rest. Again, this is a mandate that the state, via the federal government, had to institute, in all fairness, before the 22 school year, the 2022 calendar year, excuse me. We were required to administer an assessment, and obviously this was what the state required of us. There will be a spring examination, the New Jersey Student Learning Series will be administered. And those results I normally present at the October board meeting for the board members that have been here. That usually happens in October. But this one obviously was done in October. Results were given to us last month in December. But some of the strategies, and even though the Early Childhood Center is not indicated there, it's important that we start with the children at that grade. And we have a math coach that is working with teachers weekly. We're modeling and providing feedback on strategies. Students are receiving 2 periods a week of a online spatial temporal program called ST Math. It levels the playing field. Ms. Astuni, who's a teacher of that grade level, has been integrating that for many years. There is no written component, there is no reading. They allow all students to watch what they believe to be a game. It's a penguin running across a board and jumping over blocks, but it really challenges the mind. When you hit that roadblock, you start over. It is mathematical. We are piloting a brand new math program, Investigations Mathematics, here in the district, and that's, again, something that we are very hopeful that will help us with our math scores. The Board of Ed, I've been recommending for the last few years, Conquer Mathematics, one of our better professional development opportunities. Many of our teachers have attended and come back with great strategies to implement in their class. Data is so important. So now we have this data, what do we do with it? We share it with our staff, and we wanna make sense of it. But we also know this is coming off of, again, a pandemic that we're still living in. We have children that social and emotional is just as important as any test score to me. It's probably more important nowadays. I'm sorry, a test score is critical, but the mental well-being of every child in our schools, to me, at this point, and what they've endured in the last couple of years is more important. Again, ELA was an area of concern. We have a literacy coach in our district. We have them working and modeling, again, some proper and more proficient lessons. At the high school, the Start Strong and Link It, we have Link It as one of our benchmark assessments. We are administering assessments internally in our schools where we, the teachers, can administer assessments and see the strengths and weaknesses of the students. And they can really focus on some of those areas. And finally, I think some of the more important areas are that, you know, we know where we lie, we know where we have to work. And there's a lot of work, but we also know it's so important to get our kids back in the building in a safe place. So we have priorities ahead of us as well. So I would be more than happy to survey other superintendents to see what other school districts compare. I would venture to say that, again, you may not be pleased with the statistics. To me, it's a test. It's one day. It's a child that maybe did not sleep well, or maybe was not feeling well, or maybe is dealing with some other extraordinary circumstances. But regardless of all of that, we still have a responsibility to improve on these reports.
If I may, I just also want to say it was tested in October, kids are just coming back from summer. So it's not necessarily a fair assessment of where they were when they didn't have an opportunity to be integrated into an academic setting.
And I'm surprised that the state wanted to have it after knowing that for 18 months, not only
They were required, because when they postponed it in the spring of '21, there's a federal mandate that in order to receive X amount of dollars, you must administer a certain examination. And the reality was, if we, the state of New Jersey, did not administer something in October, November, December, there was gonna be no way around it. That was the 21, that was still considered 2021. We were required to administer.
Will the state give us added revenue, knowing that our scores are low, to get additional personnel to be able to?
Yeah, so I don't think that, I think we have the revenue. I will go on record and tell you that our federal grants are definitely, available to us. It's a pool of candidates that does not necessarily exist. There is definitely no surplus in teachers these days.
No.
There's definitely a need. We are constantly seeking, I had an interview scheduled last week. The candidate never even showed up. I still don't know where they're at. I don't know I guess they're not interested. I take it that way, right? But we have the funds, we are implementing programs. But this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we have to just take it a little bit at a time.
Well, it's an eye-opener, and thank you very much.
Mr. Shin, I think you had a question.
Yes, the level one, so this kind of evaluation will be made every October, right?
No, this, again, I shouldn't say no. This was the first time we ever administered this assessment. Usually, the state of New Jersey requires students to be administered an examination, usually in the month of April. Sometimes that April rolls into May. It matters what grade level, and the district has a certain period of time to test the children. But because last year with COVID, many children learning, well, for the last 2 years, there was no examination in the spring.
Right,
We were required to administer something in the fall. All public schools were required.
So then when is the next time we can see how much improvement could be made next
Unfortunately,
time?
an assessment like this, I don't know that we will ever see it again, to be honest with you, because the plan is that we're gonna administer a test in the spring for all of our students, again in grades 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. And we're gonna be able to compare those assessments to the previous years. We do have data. But we'll never be able to compare 2 years of no test and COVID, because you have children in the 4th grade that were administered a test for the first time, that the last time they've completed a full year in school was first grade.
Right.
Second grade was interrupted, third grade was potentially home all year. We can't lose sight of that. So again, children that were administered a test in the fall, in the fourth grade, the last time they finished a full year of real school, the way we remember it, the way we hope it to be again, was in the first grade.
So when the students are tested, it include ESL and the kids with IEP, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
That's why our Palisades School District has many students are from other countries.
So,
So they are
Ms.
beginner and.
Ms. Mann,
they
I'm
can
grateful
also-
that you understand that and you know that. We have a very diverse community. We have a very large ELL population. We are a community that brings a lot of migrant students and families. And it's important that we educate them, of course, we are required by law. But again, for me, it's just as important that they're productive in society. The test is very important. We will never, I've talked to Mr. Kim about this, I know he sits on the Bergen Academy's board. We will never, ever be able to compare. And you know, that pool of students and our pool of students are completely unique. I'm happy that we have the students we have. I'm happy that we continue to work with what we have. But we also know that, you know what? They don't have the same type of hurdles to jump over like we do. These are challenges, but this is what makes us come back to work every day and try harder.
Thank you.
I think under new business, I will ask for two recommendations this evening. It is the submission of, and apropos, it's a 3-year English language learner plan. I think Ms. Montemuro emailed all the board members. This is something that we have to submit every 3 years, excuse me. And the second thing, which I handed out tonight to the board members, is called the SSDS. It's the Student Safety Data Submission. This is done twice a year. So this is the programs or trainings that we offer our teachers or students. This is our prevention of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and or any incidents of violence or vandalism. So I will ask for 2 resolutions during new business, please.
Great. Thank you very much.
Ms. Gillis, I know you have a presentation. Should we do that under my report? Is there a need to go to closed session?
No, she can do it.
She can do it now? You okay?
Now, I'd like to just add to what Dr. Stewart said, we have an excellent staff. We really do have an excellent faculty that I know will combat this and bring these scores up. I'm totally confident in that.
So, Lala Gillis is our interim business administrator. I am grateful that she is available to be with us this evening. I know a few months ago, I think someone on the board requested that we go out for proposals and or request for professional services. Not a recommendation I can make on the attorney, auditor, or architect. I believe at reorg we did appoint an architect of record. This is Lala Gillis with a very brief presentation for the board.
Good evening, how is everybody? Okay, so on the screen right now, you have the RFP that we received, which was the only RFP that we received for auditing. This is the second time we went out for an RFP. We went out in December and received one auditor who happens to be the same person that, the same firm that sent us one for January. As you can see, these are their hours, what they charge. They have all their paperwork in order, so they are definitely complying with what we requested in the RFP. The second tab that we have here is for legal services. Again, we went out last month, in December, for an RFP. We received, I believe we received about the same number of RFPs, and this is the summary of what we received in January. If Dr. Cirillo could scroll down, You can see there are different, each firm has different amounts of what they charge per hour, for the different types of services that we had, put in our RFP. The one in D, which doesn't have a whole lot of, hours, is that firm only, applied for special ed, services, but, we requested, a service of a board attorney for everything. So I
I'm
was
sorry,
on.
who is that? I'm sorry, I can't see the.
D is the
D is
Machado group.
Machado.
Okay.
The yellow that you see also down there, they did not include, the equal employment opportunity form that needs to be put in, that's mandated. Basically, if you look at, I know that there was 3 board members that came into the office to review all the, paperwork that we received. It's still there, so I don't know exactly what,
In the last column, number 30 are the references, and, again, the board has the right to solicit RFPs, RFQs, qualifications, or proposals annually, as directed last, I guess it was started in November primarily that we should do this. I know Ms. Montemuro and the business office worked on this. I know we had openings, and these are the attorneys, and there was one auditor. I cannot, and legally I'm not at liberty to make any recommendations on professional services, so this is a decision of the Board of Education.
Great. Thank you.
any questions?
Was there, on the RFP that was listed, was there a minimum years of experience required that was included in the listing?
I believe it was,
It wasn't
yeah,
a requirement.
usually it's 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
I'd have to really go back and double check, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
But
But it
yeah,
was
and
included
also
in
the,
the-
yeah, and also
Okay.
they, request like, that you have, exactly, that you've had,
Previous experience.
previous
in doing
experiences
something.
with education,
Okay.
yeah.
All 5 of them, with the exception of the special ed person, you all have the qualification, they all have experience with the Board of Education?
No, one, only has municipal experience,
No Board of Ed?
no,
And who is that?
sorry, let me get my glasses on. That would be, Sarah Kemp.
Does not have any prior board of
No,
ed experience?
it's just
So
municipalities.
in
on
column-
the-
In column 30, it speaks
Thank
to
you.
experiences or references that the candidates or the firms have
That's what I
indicated.
thought I saw when I looked at it, okay.
So she only has, she's the only one that has the municipal experience?
Right, she doesn't have any board
Right,
experience.
but the other ones I'm saying,
Everybody else does, yes.
okay,
And they are on, currently they're on boards.
thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Choi?
Yes, I just wanted to add, this came up earlier, and I just want to state to the board that, under, NJSA 18A-5, professional services such as this, you don't have to go out for public bid. This is, it's not a lowest price award type of scenario.
Of course.
But best practices, and what I would recommend is we do go out for bid, and best practices is do go out for bid. And it ensures really the quality of the service that you're gonna get in comparison with the prices that you're gonna get. So that's a great, chart for consideration.
Well, I hope our quality is as good as we've had in the past 2 years, and I'm sure it will be on whoever we pick.
Thank you.
Mr. Kim? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
mean to
no,
interrupt
yes,
Dr. Matarazzi.
Yes, that's okay.
So process is are we going to make a committee or are we going to
No,
decide or what?
the folders were in the board office for the last couple of weeks, I believe, and, so
We opened it
tonight,
on the 11th.
January 11th.
Mhm.
So they were in there for the board members to look at. Tonight, we're gonna entertain a motion so that we can move on.
I also for the upper board members.
sorry?
Donna said only 3 people, and I was one of them.
I don't know.
What about the others that didn't see it, how would they?
I don't know. They were there, and I guess they
Well, I
didn't
think
have
they-
the opportunity
People
for
work,
whatever
maybe
reason.
they didn't get a chance to come in as well.
Right, they must have been.
Well, it'd be
Right
very
on.
hard for
But
them
we
to
were
decide.
provided with the names of the firms.
Okay, Good.
way beforehand on when all of the submissions were provided, so even if people didn't come in, they have access to information
Right.
about the firms.
Was there only one applicant that didn't have was the single component, or were there?
There were
Well,
two.
there were two, but one of them it was
Oh,
a
she was
special
the
ed
child.
attorney,
Okay.
so, you know, she really is
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the auditor, we only have one person one company that will
Correct.
apply for RFP.
right. In December and in January, it was just one
And we-
audit firm
it was
applied.
2 times on advertisement for that, right?
Yes, the same firm 2 times, correct.
Is it possible we can have just one more? Because having a one and deciding that is not actually good.
Well, we can't force somebody to, I mean, we could go out.
You
for
don't
another-
have to, but is it the board okay with going for one more
I don't think
advertisement?
so, because first of all, the person that did submit his, application has been with the Board of Education for many years, and we all know he's done a wonderful job. So now he's applied already twice. I don't know if we can actually go again and ask the same guy or other people to now submit their application again for the 3rd time. I think that's being silly on our part.
Because other board member doesn't think that way, especially the new one.
It's a good point.
I think, we need to postpone deciding the auditor tonight, because, it's very important to have, more, multiple, bidders, and, we just wanna compare it, because, being, the auditor such a long time, but, I think it's time to look into more detail of the qualification of the auditors, and, I'm very strongly suggest that we need to have, some more time to look for some other auditors and bidders.
Okay, what we can do is we can bring this name up, and if it's voted down,
Yep.
then we will, re-advertise and try to, like Mr. Kim said, seek other applicants. Good point.
So you wanna vote it
How
down
is that
or you wanna
affecting us
postpone?
not having an auditor, given that we placed a notice in December and again in January, and both times, and we followed with whatever the public requirements are in both times, so I'm just concerned with
It's
us
1
not
month
having an
more.
auditor for another month, how is that going to affect us? It's tax season,
Sure, it's
it's
a good point.
it's a critical time in terms of an auditor's work. And I'm concerned how that would negatively impact us in not
Right.
having an auditor.
That's a good
And
point.
having published this information, and we can't force people to apply who aren't interested in applying
Okay.
in 2 months. So
Okay.
I would seriously consider us not to be negatively impacted by not having an
Good
auditor
point.
at all.
Let's, well, again, we'll put it up for a vote, and if not, we'll only give it 1 more month. And then the next month, if no one else comes,
Yep.
then we will put this in. So first, I'll entertain a motion that we go with this one auditor. And anyone like to resolve that?
I second it.
No, anyone want to? Make a motion.
Oh,
I'm not making.
I'm making a motion. The applicant is Steve Wilcox.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, Diane, roll call?
Just a minute, please. Tom Matarazzo.
Because of the request of Mr. Kim, I'll vote no.
Yu Min.
I would
Thank
say
you.
yes.
Newman,
Sue Chung.
No.
What'd she say?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Oh.
you voted
Sue Chung.
yes for that auditor?
Uh-huh.
I said no.
Agnes Garcia.
Yes.
Jason Kim.
No.
Kevin Lim.
No.
John Madison.
Yes.
I really don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't feel comfortable. with
You
only
could
one-
abstain.
You can abstain.
I'm abstaining. I'm not telling you to abstain.
No, I know.
Yeah. Is that your vote, abstention? Okay.
Is that everyone?
I'm sorry.
There are a few more.
Yes, Charlie Shin,
No.
am I missing someone?
No, that's it, you have more.
Okay,
And what's the tally?
5-3.
fine.
5-3, so then we have 1 month to advertise, and next month, if not, we'll reintroduce this.
Yes.
Okay, the next one will be on the board attorney. Again, I wanna take this opportunity to thank our attorney right now, for a phenomenal job. I only wish he would have applied again, it was an honor to work with him. Do we have any motion on these 5 attorneys? Any resolutions?
I'd like to nominate Noel. I think that's one of the
It
candidates.
is Noel Pierre.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Any other nominations?
I would nominate, Cordera Ken.
I'll second.
Second on that?
So who seconded
Excuse me?
Any other nominations?
There was second?
Was there?
Yes,
Was there a second?
Sue seconded.
No, I thought she was nominating.
No.
Nominating.
I was,
Yoon Min
yes.
nominated and
Oh,
Sue
I apologize.
seconded.
Okay.
Any other nominations? If not, we can take one roll call and they could say their pleasure.
Yes, so why don't we do the motion to select attorney?
Right.
As we take the roll call, please select the name you wish to vote for.
Very good.
I just have a question for you, Mr. Choi. We're, as board members, we're not supposed to be in any way affiliated with these law firms, right? And any problems with them that they were representing us personally? Would that disqualify us for individual voting?
That is a very complex question. If you have a conflict, of course you're not gonna vote. If the individual board member feels that there is a conflict with any particular attorney, then that individual board member may recuse himself from that vote. As far as whether or not that attorney or that law firm represented any individuals present here, if it was a past representation, it's not necessarily a conflict.
And I just have a question, can someone then be nominated who does not meet the qualifications that were set forth in the RFP?
Generally, no, but in this scenario,
Because that's my concern, I don't know any of these firms personally, but if someone does not meet the qualifications listed, it's a concern that they can even be nominated.
yeah,
What are the qualifications?
well, generally, no, but this is a professional services, a selection where the quality of the service is being sought, in totality, not necessarily on the specifications of an RFP.
Right.
RFPs are more towards, non-exempt contracts that exceed the threshold amount. Professional services are one of the exempt contracts.
So it's not mandatory to have the Board of Education related
No.
meetings, right?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay, there are 2 names on the floor. Diane, would you please call roll call, and will the board members please state the name of the 2 people that were nominated that they choose?
Alright, so we're not voting on an individual.
No, we're gonna say our names
Is
of the
that
person
correct,
we want.
Mr. Choi?
Yes, we're voting on them, all together by name.
Thomas Manaretti,
Sarah Kim.
Yoon Min,
Sarah Kim.
Sue Chung,
Sarah Kim.
Agnieszka Garcia,
No.
Jason Kim.
I'm recusing myself.
There's a conflict with both of them?
At least one of them.
Okay.
So you're recusing yourself on,
Yeah.
Kevin Lynn,
Sarah Kim?
John Madison,
No,
Charlie Shin,
Yeah, favor to Sarah Kim.
Mr. Longo,
Sarah Kim.
Okay, so Sarah Kim, we'll notify her, please, Diane, tomorrow.
I just want to comment on the record, it's extremely concerning that we're hiring someone who does not have any Board of Education experience to be the board attorney. That is absolutely ridiculous.
But Mr. Chair served us correctly, and then in my knowledge, you didn't have before when you started our
Right.
us, right?
Well,
Yes.
that costs us more money to pay someone to train on the job. We have things that can go happen quickly on a day-to-day basis, and someone should have an answer for us very quickly.
I
And
know.
that's what experience is for.
And I have confidence to know that they all.
Can I ask
seem to-
what is the ridiculous? You mean our voting was ridiculous or what else is
To me, it's
ridiculous?
ridiculous that we're
I
hiring a
don't
board
think that's-
attorney who does not have board experience, who does not have prior experience representing a board.
Yeah, I would not go and say that it was ridiculous and a
Well,
board
that's
that
my
anyone
opinion.
chose. I would not be demeaning and say that your vote was ridiculous. So again, I wish her all the luck and we hope that it'll go well.
Well, I find it a little hard to understand. She got the votes, that's okay, we did it legally,
Mhm.
but only 3 of us saw the applications and read them, look at them, what their application stated. 5 or 6 of us did not even show up for it, so how can you actually say you know the person and you voted for it if you didn't even see what she represented to us on that application?
Well, like Agnieszka said, we have the names and obviously.
What
you can
good
look up-
is it going now when
Then they
it's
can
done already,
look
Tom?
up the person and they can make their decision based on that. I don't know why they didn't, people didn't go in. I can't force anybody to go in the board office.
Well, that's shame on them then.
Well,
How
Again.
could you assume that we simply doing what's the office, that there is a lot of way to look into the law firm, right? So,
What?
you know, I think it's kind of too much jumping.
yeah, as I said, I
Well,
respect
the
everyone's.
There's a lot of ways, you know, how to look into the law firms and overall the lawyers, right?
I spent 2 hours to look at the office and then
Yeah, I
make this
think you are the
decision.
one, yeah.
Good, good. And again, I thank everybody for their time in doing so. For those who couldn't, that's okay. Again, we didn't go out for RFPs in the past, we did this time, and I'm glad that we did. Okay, the next item on the agenda would be report of the board attorney.
Okay, after, that vote, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for the opportunity, these past years, and, I did my best to serve the board as best as I could. I'm happy to have worked with everybody here, including the Teachers Association. I am happy to, have worked with everybody here. This is a great institution, and there are many great things ahead of us. I will work hard to transition the new attorney that's coming in, and I'm not going anywhere, I'm just down the road, and I will continue to communicate with the board as best as I can to make sure that the transition is smooth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Ben, again, we so appreciate everything that you've done. Okay, the next item would be a resolution for the minute approval, we'll do them separately, Diane? Okay, the first one would be November 18th, 21. Do I have a resolution on that? I know Diane put it on the website. No one wants to,
I make a motion for the November.
any second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Tom Matarazzo.
Yes.
Newman. Yes. Agnieszka Garcia.
Yes.
Jason Kim.
Yes.
Kevin Lim.
Yes.
John Madison.
Yes.
I did not pull on the new board members because they weren't here in November.
Thank you.
Same thing for December.
Okay, next one would be a resolution for December 16th, 2021. Do I have a resolution? A motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Tom Matarazzo.
Yes.
Newman. Yes. Agnieszka Garcia.
Yes.
Jason Kim.
Yes.
Kevin Lim.
Yes.
John Madison.
I have to recuse myself, I wasn't here.
Okay, the next item would be committee reports. And again, in the future, if anyone who's a chair would like to call a committee meeting, please, just check with Dr. Cirillo, and see about his availability and myself, and, we'll be there, okay? So the first committee would be the Finance Committee.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The Finance Committee has a consent agenda for 14 items, including one finance addendum to move in motion.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Tom Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yun Min?
Yes.
Sue Chung?
Yes.
Annie Garcia?
Yes.
Jason Kim?
Yes.
Kevin Lynn?
Yes?
John Madison?
Yes.
Charlie Shin?
Yeah.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
Great, thank you. The next one would be Buildings and Grounds. And that would be Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Shin.
Okay, this is first time for me, okay, so
Sure.
I don't know how I could do this, so, Kevin, can you do this for me? please?
I'm the co-chair.
Okay, yes.
I know that
There, yeah.
Sorry, okay. It's-
Well, Jason and
Can,
Kevin are on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Jason and Kevin are on it.
oh, Kevin, you wanna do it?
Oh, I think you could do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're the member, right?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to make a motion to this consent agenda for the 4 items that we have.
Any second on that?
Wanna make a motion?
Yeah, we second.
A second, okay.
Any discussion? Just that, we checked with all the paperwork, insurance and all?
Of course I
All
did.
of them?
Must you
Great.
question me?
No, I said, do we check on each one, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Okay, Thomas Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yun Min?
Yes.
Sue Chung?
Yes.
Annie Garcia?
Yes.
Jason Kim?
Yes.
Kevin Lynn?
Yes?
John Madison?
Yes.
Charlie Shin?
Yes, and thank you.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
Okay, next one would be Personnel. Personnel Chairman, Ms. Min.
Okay, yeah. I repeat the all 9. So before us, we have a 9 resolutions. So I like to make a motion as the consent agenda.
Second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Thomas Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yun Min?
Yes.
Sue Chung?
Yes.
Annie Garcia?
Yes.
Jason Kim?
Yes.
Kevin Lynn?
Yes?
John Madison?
Yes.
Charlie Shin?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
Okay, the next one is curriculum, and although I know we don't have any report this month, I would, like to appoint Peter Longo as the chairman, since he knows about the curriculum probably, the best of all of us. So, I'd like to nominate you for that. And, also, if you could serve on the calendar, food services, and policy. Okay, thank you. The next one would be negotiations, Mr. Matisich.
No negotiation at this time.
Hey, policy, Ms. Garcia.
No report at this time.
PTA, PTSA, Ms. Chung.
I actually didn't know that I'm supposed to say anything today.
Okay, that's
so-
okay. I don't know if they had started,
I
but
was
if you,
discussing with me.
thank you. So maybe if you could check with, I believe the PTA president is still Ms. Terranova?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe
Okay, I
if we
will
can.
contact her.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, student activities or field trips, Ms. Min.
There is no report at this time.
Thank you. Calendar food services, Mr. Kim.
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. NJ School Board Liaison, Mr. Kim.
Not at this time, again, thank you.
Okay. And the last one would be the county's, school boards.
Not at this time, again, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I make a recommendation that we suspend the agenda? There are some young individuals or a young individual waiting to speak. We're gonna go to closed session at the end if you don't mind.
Okay, no
So they
problem.
don't have to wait the entire night.
So I make a motion that we go into open session right now. Do we have a second on that?
We second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're now open to the public. Please state your name, for the benefit of the new board members who might not know you, and, Please respect the 3-minute limitation. Yes, sir.
My name is Youngmin Jang, resident of 50 East Palisades Boulevard, house number B as a board. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
allow me to observe your regular sessions. I really appreciate about your decision, and I believe you made a big decision. Before you make a decision, probably you consider deeply about, what is the best, your option as a board, BOE member to vote. So, as a resident and parent, we also concerned about all the this pandemic, third years, students' performance. We also care and support teachers and superintendent and everybody. But as a resident, BOE just, we observe, and you made a decision, and not, everything's done. Now this new start, and as a resident and a participant, we can just evaluate about your decision was the best decisions or not. So as your partner, we just also, be with you and support you. And also, as a voter, we just, evaluate performance of each individual. I'm so sorry to scare you, no, it's not. But your board members' decisions and your activity of committee, right? And I learned very much about what she has done for the past, 4 years. And I'm probably one of the, a very good, a partner of you, right? So I really appreciate about this, very active participation of, parents here, and I support you. And I, as a pastor, I, pray for you, and I personally appreciate Mr. Benjamin Choi's, hard work, right?
Yes.
So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree with you, and again, everyone's decision is their own decision, and we hope that everybody respects it, that's it. Anything else in the audience? Yes, ma'am?
Okay, part of the thing that I wanted to say, he said it all, so how he knew what I'm gonna say. And
Thank
from
you.
the borough side, I would like to give you a report about the digging right outside the BOE building.
Thank you, yes.
Actually, what happened was, they wanted to just change the one pipe or something, and then they found out there was a gas tank that was buried underneath that was probably over 30 years, and it's not really safe right now. And
Okay.
yeah, so they also had so borough side, they had an investigation and found out it was about 30 square yards. So it's a big amount was contaminated. So they will take out all the soil, and then it's gonna take some more time, and that's what I heard.
Do you know how much time is there? a frame?
Probably 2 months more or something like that.
Okay.
They will dig out and they will
But it's a
cover it.
safe
but-
place to work, because we have very valuable employees there.
I know, that's why I asked for about having a parking space for the
Yes.
employees and
Sure,
all
when
these
it
things.
snows,
So,
I don't know where they're gonna park.
right now, so they're just dropped off, or just a lot of trouble going on.
Yes.
I know that. So yeah, so from the borough side, I will also push,
Thank
if
you.
it could be done
Thank you so
ASAP.
much.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Thank
And
you.
Ben Choi, I'm really appreciative.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank
We
you
miss
so much.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, you had your hand up, yes.
So I want to talk.
Your name?
Sorry, Julia Paproda, 132 East Perry Avenue. I'm a student in, the high school, and what I was really hoping for the board to do was add a new language class. What I wanted, specifically was sign language.
Oh.
I think it would be very beneficial, not just for if a deaf student or someone who's hearing impaired comes to the school,
Absolutely.
but also for people who we work with in the future.
Sure, excellent, suggestion. Maybe can we,
Julia, I'm gonna tell you that about 4 years ago, I called the county of Bergen. I requested, because sign language is an approved world language. Just like our high school students are required to take 5 credits in the state of New Jersey, our school requirement is 10 credits, so 2 years. And that would either be Italian, Spanish, or Korean now. Sign language would be equivalent. I am looking into a program, and I'm gonna tell you, what grade are you in currently?
10.
So before you graduate, you're gonna get 5 credits of sign language. How about if I make you that promise tonight? Sounds good? You better take the class. Don't make me run it and not take it. You better take it.
Very
Because
good.
tomorrow morning, I am gonna call and find out, it might be, because to get a teacher certified is the hard part. But it might be through a Bergen Community College, where it can be a virtual program, where again, sign language is something that is so important. I know when we have students and or families that require it, we have to hire someone, and that is a program that clearly many students can benefit from. So I appreciate you even bringing that to our attention.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that suggestion. Excellent. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have one question as a resident of the Palisades Park, so
Sure.
if you excuse me,
That's
okay, then
okay.
I can ask this, okay? I have good news, okay? One of guy, okay, like 10 years ago, one of guy wanted to come to United States from Korea, so I recommended her to live in Palisades Park. And 10 years later, she lived in Palisades Park for 10 years,
Wow.
and finally her daughter was accepted to the Yale next December,
Wow.
okay? Okay,
Very
with a
nice.
full scholarship, okay?
Excellent.
So I'm very grateful for the staffs and the superintendent and all the teachers and all the
Excellent.
educators.
Thank you.
That's very good, and I'm proud of that. But in the meantime, separately from that things, okay, when I checked with the school ranking system, okay, my background is in military and the businessman, okay, so I emphasize the efficiency and the ranking and the achievement, okay. So in point of view, I checked the ranking system of the ranking of the school in Palisades Park. The worst thing, I'm sorry to say that the worst thing I saw from the Yahoo is very, very low, like out of 2,100, the Palisades High School is ranked like the 1900, which is
Not
like,
great.
I don't know whether I can use this word, but it is dishonorable,
I
okay, for
understand.
me. So I'd like to ask to the educators here, okay, what can we do, okay, to improve that, okay? That kind of the school ranking system is the reputation of our town, okay? So anybody wants to move into the Palisades Park,
Yes.
they would see such things in
Yes.
advance, right? So,
Well, I know Dr. Cirillo gave a litany of items before
So,
what we are doing.
is
to
there
improve
any
it.
reason, or is this not fact, or is there any reason for that? And how can we improve such things, and how can we support you to do that?
Sure.
That's my
Dr. Cirillo.
question.
Mr. Shin, annually or every 2 years, state reports on school rankings come out. And you know, just like magazines and newspapers want to sell copies to the press and to the community, rankings are very important to us, but they're not the most important indicator of student performance. I want students to graduate from our school district and go on, because we have children in my 20 years of working here going to Princeton, going to Harvard, going to Yale, saying no to Tufts University. I've never heard of that in my life. If you're accepted to Tufts, how can you say no? But they've done it. The reality is, just as much as we have the children who go to the Ivy League schools, we have children that unfortunately are coming to our district with little or no formal education from other countries. We have children that are coming to our schools with 16-year-old students who have a second grade education. There's a very unique balancing act of how we can educate these students. And unfortunately, as I described earlier, test scores are one of the biggest indicators of student performance, unfortunately, for those ranking systems. Additionally, schools are the makeup of the building, the level of education of the faculty and staff. You know, for a very long time, our salary guides were not the best. I know they're moving in the right direction. We are retaining so many more educators. We are seeing people with master's degree stay in our schools. That breeds to have more success in the future. So we are trying our very best, but I think this is very important, and maybe, I don't want to give you a political answer to lie to you, but when people move to this community, the number one thing everyone looks at is a school. Because if you are buying a home in a community, the resale of your home is going to be impacted by the schools.
Yeah.
But many of the new homes in this community, if we all went in them tomorrow, are granite, marble, stainless steel. Our schools are old. We need to invest in our schools. We need parents to trust our schools. We have bathrooms that need to be updated. We have made a commitment to fix our roofs, to fix our boilers, HVAC. I spoke to Ms. Bellotti today. It's gonna be very cold tomorrow. Because of air quality, because of COVID, we have to keep windows open. It makes no sense to have heat on and windows open. But we have to do it for fresh air ventilation. But again, we are working with our architects. We are working to improve our heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And this is not something that can change in 10 minutes. This is something that it took 30, 40, 50 years. Now, we have to worry about the next 50 years, but we have to start somewhere. And I'm hoping you are on buildings and grounds, correct?
That's correct.
Just as much as those rankings are important, we have to fix our schools. Because once we take pride in the schools, the students also take pride in their academics. And it's reciprocal. Just like the program we started here with the preschool expansion, the governor was in this room. There's an investment in children of 3 and 4 years old. Those children are gonna graduate from our schools one day. But we have to make them wanna stay here to continue to improve.
Okay, that's our common goal, okay? So we can cooperate, okay, if it is necessary, so.
And I do
That's where we
believe
are,
we
yeah.
can judge a book by its cover, and the cover would be the buildings itself, and I agree with you, and I think we should, work on every single angle that we have here. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Ji Choi. I'm a parent of my child who goes to ECC. She just started in kindergarten. So I tried to email, I emailed you. Yeah, probably, if you remember, I emailed you about my.
Yes, we spoke a couple weeks ago. You're the
Yes,
educator in
yes.
Fort Lee.
So like, I asked the principal if she could, do a virtual online class for even the kindergarten. So she told me the most effective way for kindergarten to learn was single native online documentation of paperwork. So I've been trying that with my child for like a week, and it was like a 4-page work for her for like a day. It wasn't effective. I believe it wasn't effective. So I asked a couple of times to see if she could get like a virtual class, you know, like online active class instead of just getting paperwork. You know, so I was wondering if that would work anyway to provide a virtual online class for kindergartens, or is that?
Yeah, so, are you
Okay.
finished with the question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So unfortunately, the governor mandated that no virtual instruction was permissible this school year unless a child was COVID positive or a close contact.
Yes.
So I cannot arbitrarily offer virtual instruction to any student. Again, I know your child, we spoke about your child.
She was COVID positive, but.
I don't wanna talk, we don't have to disclose anything. Again, I know you're an educator as well, and I know there are many family members and parents that also are requesting a virtual component.
Yes.
What I can tell you wholeheartedly, if it was permissible, I'm sure it would have been offered already by me and by many other superintendents across the state.
It was provided last year.
It was permitted last year.
Yes, so why can't you do it this year? I mean.
I'm not allowed. The state, the governor, the Department of Education is not allowing the public schools to offer it. We are not
I don't get
permitted.
it. So I work in other school districts, I
Correct.
told you. So that school district is providing virtual class. Why, isn't that the same
So
government?
they're providing it for students who may be COVID positive,
Yes,
or that's what we are doing as well.
I know. So when I talked to the principal, she told me that the best scenario she could provide me is a synchronative, online documentation, like how they're not actually a virtual class.
They should be virtual, ma'am. All of our schools, all of our principals have been advised, many of our classes, if the student is a COVID positive student and or identified as a close contact,
So
they are permitted to have virtual instruction.
So I could tell you that it is not a virtual instruction.
Well, are we talking about synchronous or asynchronous?
she's talking that it's synchronous.
Yes, you're telling me it is not.
I don't see it as a
Is it
virtual.
possible, and again, I don't wanna take over further time here, we can talk more on the side or later, tomorrow, whatever best for you. So my question is, because there may be children in the classroom and children placed on quarantine because of COVID, it's merely impossible to be synchronous with children online and children in the room. We know that that is not a good, the hybrid model, they called it hybrid, that doesn't necessarily, it's not the most effective.
It's not most effective, but it's better than getting a piece of paper and do it at home.
I don't
for
disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but I
Mhm.
also think there are many students that are,
So,
your child sounds like your child may be more advanced, where some children are going to work best with that piece of paper. I think we have to explore all types of learning.
It depends on the situation. Currently, I got notification that more than 15 kids of her classroom is at home now. So there's only 2 or 3 students in her class. So why can't the principal provide a synchronous online class when there's more than half of the students are missing?
Maybe you could look into it, and then if you could speak
I
to
will
her,
talk to
we'll
you,
address it.
if you are patient to wait at the end, I can speak to you privately about that. I can't
Okay.
disclose how many kids are out, how many kids are in,
I
I'm
know,
not gonna.
I'm just saying that more than half of the students are out, so why can't school provide more efficiently lesson or?
Good suggestion, so maybe if we could take that under
So
advisement.
like, I know like, other Palisades Park, like the elementary and the high school, like
Mhm.
they are doing synchronous lessons.
Good.
So I know that, and then I know that the school could provide that even with ECC. So I was wondering why is it denying to have that access, like support running for kindergarten?
Great question, and maybe, again, Dr. Sirla can speak to you possibly after. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other, yes, ma'am?
Stephanie Jang, and I'm sorry that I think I missed it. I just trying to congratulate Mr. Longo, and I'm so happy that he is filling the gap that
Thank
I left. So I
It's got
hope
big
it-
shoes to fill, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna let him know that, but thank you very much.
Right, so I hope that, like, all of you do a great job altogether.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm just gonna say.
Yes,
My name
ma'am.
is Michelle, I live at 132 East Harriet Avenue. So, I'm just gonna bring up just like a few small minor things. I did contact the principal of ECC, and she got back to me right away.
Great.
Love her. The parking situation in the morning to get here, the parents are out of control, double parking, jumping out of their car, letting their kids out, walking them to the door. There needs to be a police officer to either ticket them or get them moving, because it's unfair.
I believe we have a police officer
On
here.
First, she said normally they're on First Street and Central. I'm on the library side, I drop off on the library
Uh-huh.
side. That's the side, it tends to be the parents that are late, I'm always late, I am.
That's okay.
So, it's the parents that are rushing,
Sure.
throwing in park and
Sure.
running. It's out of control.
Okay.
So then I put on the noise pollution, cause I'm holding my horn, so people are hating me too. But
That's okay.
I'm gonna be annoying to get
That's all right.
people moving. So that needs to be worked on.
Address, yes,
That's
maybe we
all.
can get someone there in the morning, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
And she said she'll try to see what she could do, but I wanted
Great.
to let you guys know, so maybe you
Thank
can
you.
get this going.
Excellent.
Cause it's the parents, it's not the
Sure.
kids, it's not the school, it's the parents that are the issue,
Sure.
period. Let's see, what else would I wanna say? Second, I do have to say, tonight, this is only my second, meeting that I've ever been to. And I have one that graduated from here. I've never been to these things, I don't know. Tonight I went 2 months ago, and it was a horrible experience. I really was not looking forward to coming tonight. This has been phenomenal tonight.
Thank you.
The dialogue, I
Thank
like how everybody talking back and forth,
Yes.
you guys are really working together.
Thank you.
I like this 2 months ago, it was, okay, parents had to ask questions, you had 3 minutes, okay, next parent question, and then, okay, now we'll answer yours. This is a lot better,
Thank
because
you.
you're answering our questions immediately.
Thank you.
So it feels a little bit more intimate or
Well, we
whatever.
are here to
word.
serve you, so we hope, this is a new board and we are going to serve our
This
community.
is a lot better because.
Thank you.
Because the last time it was like, okay, you had the final say, and
Right.
that was it. That seemed
Thank
very
you.
uneasy.
Well, we hope to continue in that effort, I hope. But thank you so much. Thank you.
Third, through all the years, the thing is, I never know when these meetings are, this, and I I'm gonna assume most of the parents are like this maybe. You might post it online, but I'm computer illiterate, okay? I hate it. I'm a paper and pen person. I know 90% of the people today are computer, whatever, but there's gotta be a way to.
I think the last meeting, we set the agenda of the whole year, and I believe, Diane, it's the third Thursday
It's posted
of
on the
every
website.
month.
It's
But I think the problem is that, I don't think a lot of parents know.
Well, we
really, when
also
the meeting-
post it in the, borough, we post it in a newspaper, so it's always advertised.
Nobody goes in the
Okay,
newspaper.
but every
nobody goes-
Thursday, unless there's an emergency, every third Thursday
There's
of the
gotta
month.
be- If
But
you can
are
find
you
another
a
way.
parent?
Because
I'm sorry, are you a parent?
I'm a parent.
The-
I
Is
have
that,
one at ECC
is it
and one at
possible
high
that we can send a paper?
I just,
Like
only
something-
if you want, I feel like,
Sure.
me personally as a parent, I feel like, maybe it was it's embarrassing that this is 3 schools, and this is all the people that are showing.
And
That's-
this is
that's
a lot.
sickening. You want.
And this is a lot. Some of them, we only have 1 or 2 people in the audience.
And that's horrible.
But, yes,
So
but it
there's
is.
gotta be a way to, I don't know, I mean, there's gotta be a way to
Okay,
let people,
well-
and maybe even maybe the kids to speak up a little bit.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
because they're the ones that are in this.
That's right.
So
Well, I
I
can
would
tell
like.
you again, for this whole year, it's gonna be the 3rd Thursday of every month.
Right.
So I'll tell you that unless it changes, and we can look
I'll
into
try
other
to mark my
avenues
calendar
possibly to
with
post
you.
it. Good
That's-
suggestion.
That's my only, that's a suggestion, if you
Thank
guys
you.
can find a way, because I feel like with Palisades Park and all the years I'm here, it's not a community, realistically, I don't feel like it is. You know, I feel like we can be, I just think there's gotta be a way to work
Wow.
this together, because
Yes, that's the
it's,
key.
everybody
And
just does their own thing, and that's it.
I promise you, this Board of Ed will work together. I promise you.
It's nice, I would like that, you know?
Thank you so much. Thank you, excellent.
The next meeting is February 17th, I believe. Just so you know.
Any other audience?
Is that okay for me?
Sure.
I just forgot that I had a question when I first got this sheet about the
Oh, that'll be under new business.
student safety data.
Students,
In new business, when we close closed session, I
Okay.
will ask
Okay,
for those.
okay,
motions.
sure.
okay? Any other audience? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion that we close audience participation.
I'll make a motion to close audience.
Second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, so then, we'll now go to, open again? I'd like to entertain a motion that we open again.
I make a motion.
Second? All in favor? Okay, so now we are going to go old business. Any old business? Any new business?
Well, I
We
don't
just,
have one,
I think the last time there was still the issue of the E-rate, and I believe we're still investigating that. I think, if I understand correctly, we may be pursuing another provider, or we're exploring our options, but we are still looking into the E-rate.
Yes.
fee. So that's
Correct.
just the update.
Is there an update you're asking?
Well, no, I'm just letting the board,
Yes.
that was the only item that was under old business.
Yes.
From the last meeting, so I just wanted to make sure that that was addressed to the public.
Okay.
Because we said we would discuss it again.
Very good.
And I've been in contact with Dr. Cirillo and Diane, and we're looking into, the old contracts. We think that's where the fees came from, and we're
Yes.
looking into other options.
Thank you. Good point. Any other old business?
I have one question about all this, and I remember Dr. Cirillo saying that we just come up with some sort of compliance, emergency compliance procedure, right? For example, just small child incident, right? When it happened, right? I think I remember you saying that we have like 3 pages of compliance sheet, right? So I just wonder whether we have completed and sent it to the
So
parents.
they are completed, they have be sent home because we are waiting for all of the materials that were ordered, to ensure that we can provide exactly what we said we would. We have been working with the teachers union to ensure that they are, understanding of what the requirements would be. But we definitely have, had training with our teachers on the expectations. We don't wanna roll it out and then make changes, while we are in motion. But many recommendations were made based on Mr. Choi's investigation, and we are looking forward to implementing that in the very, very near future.
Okay, so any kind of time frame that?
I'm hopeful that, I was hopeful that it would have been out already, Mr. Lim. I was hoping that the parents would have had that already. I'm hoping that by the next meeting, I can tell you all the parents have it.
Okay.
Great.
Good to know, yeah.
Thank you. Any other old business? If not, I'd like to move on to new business.
So I would ask the board to consider, as per the email, the 3-year English language learner submission. I would need a motion, a second, and a resolution, please.
And I have a copy here, I don't know if everybody got online to look at it. I'd like to make a motion for that. Is there a second on that?
Second?
Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Tom Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yun Min?
Yes.
Sue Chung? Yes. Annie Esther Garcia?
Yes.
Jason Huff?
Yeah,
Is he gone?
I think so.
Kevin Lim?
Yes?
John Madison?
Yes.
Charlie Shen?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
And second, I need to make a submission again for the New Jersey Department of Education. It is the SSDS, the Student Safety Data System for our 3 schools. I need a motion, a second, and a resolution, please.
I'd like to entertain a motion for this. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Second on that?
Second?
Any discussion?
Just one question, Dr. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Are these the ones that we went over?
Yes, many of these cases, and when we go to closed session tonight, I have one, but again, this report closes on December 31st.
Right.
So then the second half of the school year, we have to do this again.
Is this from July, from September? or-
September 1st through December 31st. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, so this is made in past year, and I just wonder, curious that if the kindergarten girl incident is not considered as an incident for this issue.
So for this, there's any student safety data submission, is any violence, vandalism, substance abuse.
Okay.
It's
so
mandatory that we report
It's not in the
it.
category.
No.
to be
I won't
considered.
comment on that.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Thomas Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yun Min?
Yes.
Sue Chung? Yes. Annie Esther Garcia?
Yes.
Kevin Lim?
Yes?
John Madison?
Yes.
Charlie Shen?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
Any other?
Thank you very much.
Okay, if not, we did audience participation.
I do need closed session.
I'd like to entertain a motion that we go into closed session.
I make a motion to go into close.
Second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And are we gonna be coming out, Dr. Cirillo?
We do need to,
Vote on that?
we don't need to vote on it. I just need to make you aware of the situation.
Okay.
We vote
So
next
then
month.
we don't have to come.
We don't have, no formal action after.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming. Thank you.